Every tale has its ballad, just as every hand has its ace. In a game of chance, there is no gambling with cards unseen. Each play warrants different risks and rewards, but not till all are laid bare can the table be yours. The Eclipsed Realms have seen many tumultuous threats through the years, a similar precursor spoken before the last story in its ever-expanding histories, the story of the Fated Fates. For a time, and a good few centuries at that, the realms were prosperous since our last hero's story. And since we regaled that story here, a chill came through the air. Whispers of change, unstoppable change, that would alter all of the Eclipsed Realms and its orbiting planes forever. Some heard the rumblings of the sweeping change and fled the plane entirely. Fiends to the hells, the fantastic to the Fadelands, shadows to the darkest vales, and so on. However, not all were so lucky. Indeed, like a chill down the spine of the world, everything changed in a singular moment in time. This moment would come to be known as Frostfall. It is said that a force, now unknown and lost to the ice, took the powers of the primordial frozen poles and sealed the Eclipsed Realms in a neo-primordial ice age. That moment was 3,000 years ago. The Eclipsed Realms were cut off from all of their planes. Even the gods behind the Divine Gate were all but shut out from aiding their acolytes. But there was still light in the realms. As, indeed they should, mortal kind and even more powerful beings sealed in the realms survived. Give or take a millennia, depending on which new civilization's record you read. Inhabitants of the Eclipsed Realms began anew in this colder age. But the harsh weather and disconnect from the other planes were not the only issues mortal kind was now faced with. From Frostfall, the primordial powers of ice, known as the Verglacium, changed too. Soured into an army of frozen terrors called simply the Rime. They came from the northern and southern claws of the Verglacium, the poles in the Eclipsed Realms, and despite mortal folly for resources and bitterness towards one another, the Rime was their biggest threat. Everyone knows different tales of the Rime, be it the creatures altered into icy monsters, the lording Rime witches whom no one survived seeing not even once, or the mysterious foot soldiers the witches command, known as the Thraum. Beings not remembered from before the time of Frostfall, but terrifying nonetheless. The Rime's icy hand is ever encroaching on the primary plane stuck in stasis from Frostfall. However, not all is doom and gloom, and it's shown to be so in the northernmost continent of the Eclipsed Realms, the continent of Avron. For the southwestern area has very well-to-do inhabitants who trade and help one another to survive in the colder times. Mostly, that is. Life has adjusted to this era of ice, of which the current year is 1999. Elves changed by the good of the Verglacium, colloquially called snow elves, live northernmost in the mountains and train to fight off the Rime from freezing the land southbound. And also in Avron are other prosperous civilizations of Goliath nomads, boreal gnomes, dwarven kind, humans, surprisingly goblinoids, and even some other miscellaneous races here or there. Those who could survive the climate change from Frostfall, that is. As for the disaster that was Frostfall, well, that is all but an ancient story from the past by this day and age. An explanation, but no longer a direct concern for threat. A reasoning for this clean slate to the Eclipsed Realms. For stories like ours, adventurers are more used to the usual pest cleanup. But there are still some in Avron that wish to aid in fighting off the Rime, be it for gold or heroism, either which way it is seen mostly to others as the same, a foolish death wish. And why they are given the name of Whorehounds, and yes, that's H-O-A-R. Our story begins with several soon-to-be heroes who will collectively meet up for the same mission reserved for those foolish enough to take a whorehound's job, in a tavern called Frostfront, in a town nearest to the wall of the northern Rhinelands called Kriadelphos.